to stay alive. Trying to find me shawty and make her mine. Now I'll find one in no time. With the help of my homies, I'm going out with my bros. With my bros.
All right, bruh fans, here we are talking about season 1, episode 18, entitled White Horse. It came out on BET Plus this morning. I watched it sometime this, was it morning or afternoon? Either way, I did watch it. I will say it was better than last week, because last week was probably the worst episode of the series so far, or season, because it was straight up filler. But this week, like I said, it was decent. Let's go ahead and read the synopsis. And once again, guys, it's on BET Plus. I know some people still don't have BET Plus. You're waiting for Ruthless. Unfortunately, it's October 1st, and we still don't know when the show's coming back. Now, reports were stating for the longest time fall 2020. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll come back around the same time as the Oval, and we don't know when that is. But before moving forward, I forgot to mention, go ahead and like the video. Let's try to get to 30 likes on this one. Hit the bell icon and select all. That way you're notified when I post new content to the channel. Hit subscribe so you can help me get one step closer to 1 million subscribers. And follow me on my social media platforms. Links are in the description. And I did post this on most of my social media platforms this morning. I spent time and I created groups for Bruh, Ruthless, House of Pain, and Assisted Living. So if you go down to the description box, you'll see a full list of all the links. I think I've pretty much got Facebook groups created for all the shows I review. So make sure you join those groups so you can talk about the show with other fans every day of the week. So White Horse, Season 1, Episode 18, synopsis. John and Tom help Bill as he nurses his injury. Mike's ability to be monogamous is called into question, and tempers flare during Regina's wedding. The reason I say this episode was better than last week, I legitimately chuckled and laughed at a few scenes. Basically, the episode, again, is split between Bill in the hospital and Regina's wedding. Now, one plus is the fact that we finally get Peter and Regina at the altar, which I was just wondering how many episodes are going to stretch this out. So basically, you know, Bill's still going on about how he's going to get to the wedding, how he's going to stop it. I know she wants me to go stop it. She probably doesn't even want to marry this clown, and she's waiting for me to show up. He asked John to call his mom in order to figure out if the wedding is still postponed, has it started yet. And John calls, and Alice is just strolling around, got her some wine. She's just chilling, waiting for this shindig to go around. And she pretty much hints, but doesn't hint that, you know, this wedding was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. But, you know, black people don't start shit on time. And maybe within the next 30 minutes, if you're here, then, you know, you might make it in time for her to do the vows and everything. So Bill knows he's on a time clock. And 9 o'clock, I'm like, dang. How early is it in the morning? So Tom comes in with the x-rays, says that Bill is pretty much fine. He just needs a shot for the pain. But before Tom comes in, Valerie comes in and pretty much checks in on the patient and pretty much tells John and Bill about how, hey, I told the truth. I'm sorry about what I put your friend Tom through. We're good. Bill doesn't trust her. John is being nice. And when she offers to get, you know, Bill some meds for his pain, he declines and leaves. She leaves, and John's like, hey, my mom always said, be nice to the crazy one. So if somebody decides to shoot up the hospital, she ain't gonna mess with me. She might shoot you though, but next time you see her, just be nice. So Tom comes in, gives him the shot to the behind. It's kind of ironic because he fell off a horse. Now he has to, you know, get a shot in the behind. Isn't that an expression? Isn't that a horse's bottom? I don't know. But I'm not going to sit up here and laugh because I never got shot in the behind before. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like I wouldn't be acting like how Bill's acting. So they're pretty much once again asking Bill's like, hey, you still talking about going to this thing, huh? So he is. So they're on their way there, and we cut to a scene at the church outside, and it's nighttime, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And then we see Bill, Tom, and John driving to the wedding, and I'm like, it's night. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was established this wedding was going to take place in the morning slash afternoon, or basically daytime. So 9 p.m. I mean, well, technically it's past 9 because they keep saying this wedding should have started at this specific time, but it hasn't begun yet. So it must be like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, even though I could have sworn it was supposed to take place during the day. They kept saying, Regina, it's like you having sex with Bill tonight in the bathroom, and then tomorrow morning you're going to walk down the aisle. So did Regina just hold off the wedding all day long? Or I'm just going to chalk it up to bad continuity. Kind of like Ruthless and Tally, but whatever. So going back to the wedding event, you got Laura who's there waiting to go to the bathroom because like everyone else, how long this thing going to take? And I would agree, if she's literally been there since the morning, I can see why she would have to go to the restroom. But you got the guy who's there with Pam, which we learn his name is David. I feel like that's like the third or fourth character named David in these Tyler Perry products, but it is what it is. He pretty much agrees to get up and sit with a friend across the room because Mike's acting like a spoiled brat. And then Mike is trying to once again reassure Pam, like, look, I love you, girl. This is why I'm acting this way. And then a girl from his past, I believe named Keisha, shows up, doesn't believe the fact that he's off the market. And to be honest, what really makes this scene is the facial expressions on both Mike and especially Pam's face, because Mike, even though he's acting like a child, he is legitimately saying, hey, I'm off the market now. And this girl that popped up doesn't believe him at all. And then Pam's enjoying this entire fiasco. And then she leaves. Keisha leaves, and then Pam is sitting there like, see, this is why I can't trust you in a relationship. And he's like, well, what I gotta do to prove it to you? Put a ring on it. It's like, oh, fine, I'll do it. I'm thinking to myself, I don't think that would be a good move. And then Pam even says like, no, I just said that because that's not going to fix anything. And I'm like, that's right, because earlier today, technically what should have been a couple hours ago when you were in bed together, she's like, technically last night, she was like, you don't even know anything about me. And then Mike ran down the list of what he does know about Pam. And yeah, so they just sit there and wait for the wedding to start. And then the wedding finally starts. Well, technically, if you want to jump back to the car with the guys, they're trying to convince Bill once again, don't do this. You don't look good because you got that shot in the behind. So you're looking a little high. And Bill is just going on and on. To be completely honest, if I were Tom, I would have taken the long route or just, drove around a couple of circles or something like that to prevent your boy from doing something this stupid. Because in his mind, he truly believes that Regina's going to be waiting for him. Even though when you get to the wedding and it finally starts, Regina looks beautiful coming down the aisle. We got Peter there. He's ready for this thing to get started. And the Reverend is doing his thing. And then out of nowhere, just like a different world, Dwayne, aka Bill, pops up and objects. And as you can expect, things do not go well. Now, unlike a different world, I took time to make some memes and some captions and some collages, and I posted those on Instagram and in the Facebook group earlier today. I made the comparison. I really got different world vibes from this scene, but obviously in a different world, it felt more realistic as opposed to because Bill pops up. And I'm thinking a few things. All right, first of all, where the hell are Tom and John? Did they wait in the car because they didn't want to be a part of this foolishness? Even though technically they were, because they're the ones who gave him a ride back. Did Bill just hop out of the vehicle because they had to park? I don't know. Mike is just sitting there with Pam. So I'm not mad at Mike for not stopping Bill. Because Bill tried to, what was it, the first time that he interrupted Pam on a date with that athlete, that ball player or whatever? Bill tried to convince him not to go over there, but Mike just went over there and made a fool out of himself. In this situation, well, technically the second time, when this was the episode where he and his boys ran up on the girl from college, Bill and John were making fun of Mike because Pam was on a date with the David guy, but then Tom was the voice of reason, or at least attempted to stop him. So I'm not mad at Mike not stepping in here. But then when Peter went over to start beating the hell out of Bill, I'm like, Mike, man, you ain't got your boys back? Come on. Like, even though Bill and Tom were acting like chumps, they did go in to help you with Leon when you were confronting him about the whole John situation. But to actually not even lift a finger, that was messed up. But also, here's another question. I was looking at this scene at the end with the big fight. I'm like, Bill was solo. Remember, Tom and John weren't there. Mike was to the side just not doing anything. So I get that maybe some of the guys, the groomsmen, were trying to help separate the fight, which is understandable. But why in the hell was like over half of the audience involved in the brawl? Like, I didn't see any stakes. Like, Alice and Laura didn't jump in. They know Bill. They didn't jump in. I don't know. It felt like some of the bridesmaids must have had some vendettas against those in the crowd, because there were a bunch of random people in the fight, and I don't know why they were particularly fighting. Again, most of the crowd, when they saw it go down, they were like, oh, no. They got up from their chairs and, like, moved towards the wall. But to actually have, like, Animal House going on made no sense to me. But then again, like I said, some things about this episode made no sense, like the fact that this wedding is taking place at night when it was already established for several episodes it was supposed to be in the morning, afternoon, or basically daytime. And then you had the situation with, like, where the boys at when Bill rolled up in the ceremony by himself. And I don't know, like, I'm not an expert in this, but when you get a pain shot or something along those lines, are you able to, like, function properly? Or are you a little high or whatever, depending on what they give you? Because I'm thinking, whatever shot that Bill got from Tom, I hope it had a lasting effect. That way he can kind of recover from this fight, because from what I could tell, it was a one-sided brawl. Like, you know, Peter was taking it to him. And Peter was pretty much saying what I was thinking. Wait, so nobody's going to stop this. This man walks to our wedding to interrupt it, and no one's going to interfere to stop this foolishness from going down. I mean, even on the way there, and I think in the hospital room with John, John and Tom were pretty much saying, okay, so you got this grand idea that you're just going to stroll in there, tell Regina everything that you think she wants to hear in order to stop this wedding. So where's Peter in this, her soon-to-be husband? Where is he going to be in all this? He's not just going to stand there and allow this to happen. And things turned out exactly like how they planned. But anyway, like I said, this episode was better than last week, but there are just some things about this show I'm still questioning in terms of how it makes sense, but it is what it is. But let me know your thoughts on this episode entitled White Horse. Even though we never saw a horse, we never even got not even a sound effect. I was disappointed. I'll give this episode, I'll give it a 5 out of 10, because like I said, there were several moments where I legitimately laughed because it was funny. So with that being said, remember, this is episode 18, so we got 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I think we got about 6 episodes left, and then the season is over. So at this point, to be completely honest, you might be better off waiting for the series to have completed. That way, if you get a BET Plus account, you can just binge the entire show. And aside from that, remember, you get the first 7 days free, meaning that you could binge this entire series and, you know, watch what you can of the first half of Ruthless and go from there. I mean, remember, BET Plus isn't sponsoring me, even though I'm giving them free press doing these videos, but it is what it is. I like the show. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And as always, if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month.